The way that I see it, there are actually only two paths you can take as a beginner when it comes to chess openings, and none of these involve the King's Indian defense. The most realistic thing anybody is ever going to tell you on YouTube is that you are not Daniel Naroditsky, you're not a grandmaster, and so jumping in at the deep end by playing an opening like the King's Indian defense is not going to serve you well. Hi guys, I want to talk to you today about chess openings for beginners. I see so many videos about this from grandmasters and from people who specifically don't remember what it's like to be a beginner. 3 years ago, I was a beginner, so I do remember what it was like to be a beginner. And I know that in chess, as a beginner, you're presented with endless choices and so many people from all different corners telling you different things. So I hope that I can provide some guidance today on how to make those choices and what could be the right choices for you. So many beginners tell me that they're playing the King's Indian defense because they saw Daniel Naroditsky do a speedrun, or that they're playing the Vienna or the Caro-Kann because they saw Gotham Chess playing the Vienna or the Caro-Kann.
I saw Katie Heron wearing army pants and flip-flops, so I bought army pants and flip-flops.
The way that I see it, there are actually only two paths you can take as a beginner when it comes to chess openings. Your options are a quick hookup or a lifetime partner. These are two categories of opening. I'm going to talk to you about the pros and cons of both of them. What do I mean by a quick hookup in an opening? Okay, so quick hookups are openings that you can learn very, very quickly without very much theory or without much studying. You can pretty much just start from the word go. Of course, this is a slight oversimplification because there is theory in every opening, but openings like this would be like the Scandinavian or the London system. These openings are relatively straightforward, repetitive in terms of pawn structures. You get similar positions. So the pros are obviously that these are great for casual players who don't want to spend very much time on chess study. You will get non-theoretical positions. They won't be as sharp as most other openings. You have less of a chance to fall for a trap in the opening or a gambit, and you'll very often get something familiar. Cons would be that you will at some point get bored. You will see similar responses, similar pawn structures. You will have similar middle game plans, and you will see similar tactical motifs. Yes, this will probably mean that you gain rating maybe a little bit quicker. You don't lose so many games in the opening, but also your chess knowledge will be much, much more limited. Quite simply, you don't learn as much about chess when you're playing these system-based or straightforward openings. Usually when these openings are taught, we don't even learn why we make the moves that we do in the opening, which is very important because every move in every opening has a very specific reason as to why it's being played. So what would be a lifetime partner opening? This would really be learning chess the old-fashioned way. So learning e4 as white and e5 as black against e4. So you're playing both sides of the e4, e5 open games. This is how Beth Harmon learns chess in the Queen's Gambit, and it's probably how most grandmasters learn to play chess. This is the classical way to learn chess, and so many chess coaches are so dumbfounded when I tell them I never learned e5 or I didn't start playing e4 until a few years into my chess career. And that's because they are so used to chess being taught to school children, and they're always taught e4, e5, or they just aren't up to date with how adults are learning chess now. As somebody who has never learned e5, and I'm not sure if I ever will, I kind of do regret this decision. Learning e4 and e5 as a beginner and letting it carry you all the way through your chess career is honestly probably one of the best decisions you can make, but it is not for the faint of heart. This will require a lot more dedication and time and energy than learning a system-based opening like the London. When you play e4, you have to be prepared for your opponent to respond with anything. In e4 and e5, there are so many gambits, there are so many different lines, and some of which are very, very sharp, that you will really be thrown in at the deep end and have to learn a lot very quickly. The pros to this being that learning e4 and e5 will essentially set you up for life in chess. You will not actually have to learn any other opening unless you want to, and you will have such a wide variety from your e4 and e5 games that you might never get bored. You may well lose more games out of the opening to gambits that you have never seen, but overall you'll become a more resilient player and you won't be so easily spooked. You won't be so easily taken outside of your comfort zone because you won't have one. You'll also be playing some of those positions from both sides as you're playing e4 and e5, so there'll be some overlap, and that overlap will make it a little bit easier. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about both of these different types of openings that I've mentioned. But before that, I want to tell you that I am not going to recommend that you learn the King's Indian or any non-standard modern or hyper-modern opening. Any opening that doesn't involve pushing a pawn 2 spaces on move 1 or move 2 probably shouldn't be touched by you as a beginner or even as an intermediate level player. Let's start first with our quick hookup openings like the London system, which is a d4 opening. I mean, obviously this is already not an e4 opening, so we are avoiding all of the open games that come with that. And the London system is categorized usually by these 2 moves of knight f3 and bishop f4 on moves 2 or 3. This used to be called the accelerated London system, and now everyone just calls it the London because it's actually not super common at like the lower level that you see knight f3 first. Usually you just see bishop f4. So either of these, this is the London. And this is definitely a way to play chess, and it's a way to play chess that was massively popularized by Gotham chess. There are many ways to play against the London system, but white pretty much always does the same thing of putting these pawns on dark squares and locking out their dark squared bishop that's on f4. So essentially we say that this bishop has no place inside of the pawn chain. It's going to be outside, and we're just going to develop around our nice little dark square triangle. And I mean, it's a very safe opening, and as white you will get this triangle structure, you will get your pieces to pretty much the same squares in almost every game, and you simply can't say that of e4 e5 open games or of just being an e4 player. Obviously, there are changes that black can make. Black can push for c5, black can trade off this bishop, black can go for a knight h5. These are all things that are played. There are g6 systems, there are c5 queen b6 systems, there are systems where we trade pawns in the center, and there are systems where white doubles their pawns and tries to attack down the center. I mean, yes, of course you have variety. No 2 chess games are going to be the same, but you're going to get things which are very, very similar compared to if you play e4 openings. The Scandinavian defense is also a quick hookup opening. You can play it pretty much without knowing anything. All you really need to know is that you take back the pawn. I mean, you can even take it back 2 ways. You can take it back with knight f6 or just with the queen. And basically the whole point in the Scandinavian is that we're just avoiding anything that white can do here from this e4, e5 line where they can play the King's Gambit, they can play normal Italian, Spanish, they can play the Vienna, they can play whatever they want to do, stupid stuff like this. Is also possible. If you don't want to deal with any of that, then obviously the Scandinavian suddenly starts to look very appealing because white's real only choice here is to take the pawn. Anything else is not very good. And I mean, like I said before, there's variety in the Scandinavian. There's knight f6 lines, there's queen takes d5 lines. You have lines where the queen comes to a5, comes back to d8, comes to d6. But these are all just subsets within the same opening. We're not getting variations of different openings. You're getting variations of the same openings. There'll be familiarity and there will be repetition. And obviously repetition is one of the ways that we learn. Pattern recognition is really key to chess, and that's what makes these openings so much easier, is this kind of repetition, and also just the fact that there aren't super sharp lines. I think that openings like the London system and the Scandinavian are very beginner friendly, but I think you're gonna get bored. It's a hot take. There are probably people who have been playing the London system their whole life and they're so happy and they never want to change. But more often than not, there will be a point in your chess career when you say, maybe I should just learn e4. And you will be, I don't know, an intermediate level player. You might even be 2000 and you will just be regretting not having played e4 from day one. If you change to e4 later in your chess career and you are, I don't know, 2000 or 1500 or whatever, you're going to be playing e4 against people who have played the Caro-Kann since they were 600 or the French since day one of their chess career. And yeah, okay, I'm not saying that these openings are particularly scary, but if you have no experience in e4 and you've never played these openings as black, then you are basically starting again from scratch, and there is a lot to learn. As somebody who has done this, as somebody who transferred to e4 later on in their chess career, there are times when I wish I'd started from day one, but it just felt so intimidating. And I mean, changing mid-chess career is very common, but the worst thing I see is my students saying, oh, I think I want to change openings. And then 2 months later saying, I don't like this opening. I want to change openings again. And this is really one of the biggest mistakes you can make, is it doesn't really matter if you choose the lifelong partner opening or the quick hookup opening, but you do really have to stick with your choice. So much time and money and energy within the chess sphere is dedicated to openings, when openings are just 1/3 of the game, and probably the least important third of the game, and probably the simplest third of the game. The reason why e4 and e5 openings are so good is because they have such principled reasons behind all of the moves, and you can really learn chess from the roots, and you can understand why each move is made. So every move is about attacking the center. Every move in the Ruy Lopez from white is about trying to get 2 pawns in the center of the board. And this opening is hundreds and hundreds of years old. And we are literally just trying to get 2 pawns on the board. C3, thematic, D4 is coming at some point. And the whole point is we get space and we get central control, and it is really that simple. And so if you're out here and you're starting and you're playing the King's Indian and you're giving the whole center, I don't want to be a hater, and this is not the main line of the King's Indian, but white can literally have 4 pawns in the middle of the board. Yes, black is fine. But is black fine if you're a beginner and you don't know the pawn breaks to make, and you don't know how to deal with less space, and you don't know that this bishop is probably going to come out last, and at some point you're going to have to push f5, otherwise you're going to get suffocated? I just don't think that this is going to be fun, okay? You can play this opening. You can play any opening you like as a beginner. Lots of people will say it doesn't matter which opening you play as long as you're happy and you study tactics. I just don't think you will be happy if in every game you have less space. Like, you can just avoid all of this by giving yourself a solid foundation for chess and not playing weird openings. Other openings I would not recommend for beginners: the Catalan, it's too complicated. The Queen's Gambit, also too complicated, but the Catalan is even more complicated. The Sicilian, too complicated. Like, all of these openings are really difficult, even at like a relatively high level. Like, even if you're like 1800, these are really hard openings to be good at. And so if you are under 1000 or under 1200 and still like relatively new to chess, I just think that you're playing with fire. I mean, people make a lot of fun of the London system, and people make fun of the Scandinavian. And the reason for this is because people see them as boring, or people see them as like too easy, or like not real openings, just because they avoid so much of the scary stuff of chess. And I mean, like, there is a take where you can say chess is scary enough, why would I play scary openings? And like, for that I would agree. Like, there's a line to be drawn. There's a reason I don't play the Sicilian Najdorf, because I don't want to feel like I'm dying every game. Chess should also be fun. So if you want to play a simple opening like the London system, then you should. If you want to try hard, get really good, play chess for the next 40 years, it's probably going to be better to play e4, e5. And that is the real takeaway from this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it didn't feel too much like I was projecting or telling anybody off or ranting. Please let me know any questions you have down below about chess openings or about anything else chess related specifically. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.